सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Okay. We will be revising chapter 11 today. I think the three presenters today are Petai, Sakub, and myself. We can start off. Sakuba, do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Over to you.
So let me share my screen. It's my okay. Oh, Hari Om. So I'm going to share two of my aha moments in today's session. So I know normally we like to summarize the entire chapter, and many people after me will be doing that. So I have this time decided to talk about just two things. I mean, which I consider as my aha moments. So one is, my own understanding and how to appreciate Vishwarupam from this chapter. So I will talk about that. Then I want to talk about the benefits of Vishwarupam. So these are the two things, the benefit of Vishwarupam, that we can all apply, see and apply in our own life. So this is what I want to talk about in today's session. So what is Vishwarupam? In the last four chapters, that is from 6th to 10th, Bhagavan extensively talked about the nature of God, para prakriti, apara prakriti. Then he talked about, the two types of bhakti, shakama bhakti and nishkama bhakti, and also the various types of devotees. And, Krishna clearly talked about Ishvara Jagat Karanam, or God alone is the cause of this universe. So, but then this automatically leads to the question that what type of cause is he talking about? Is he talking about the intelligent cause, or at least is he talking about the material cause? Is he the wood or the carpenter when we experience the furniture? So that's the natural question that we all will get. But then, luckily, he himself clarifies that, and then he, where he says that he is the, both the intelligent, undifferentiated, intelligent, and material cause, Abhina Nimitta Upadana Karanam. So the same material, when it is blessed by the intelligent cause, gets different names, like a chair or a table in a furniture. So which means, the material, the cause alone manifests as the effect. So in fact, there is nothing other than the wood, in a piece of furniture, or there is nothing other than a gold in an ornament. And so we have kind of discussed this multiple times. So there are no products which are different from the material cause itself. So in the same way, the entire universe is nothing but the God himself. So we don't have to go look for a particular name or a form to find God. He is in everything, and everything is in him. So, so that's what we talked about. Ishvara is nothing but the prapanch, or prapanch is nothing but the Ishvara. So when the cause is in the potential form, or avyakta namarupa, or in the form, or in a formless state, then we call it as Ishvara. And when it manifests with a name and a form, then we call that as the world, or the Jagat, or the universe. So the moment we have this understanding, then we realize that, we see and experience whatever we see and experience is nothing but Bhagwan. So that's the in fact, there is nothing other than the Bhagwan itself, and so that's a big aha moment, or that's how I kind of visualize the Vishwarupam. And but how do I kind of realize this? Then I need some special powers, and that special power, or the technical term that is used in the Gita is Divya Chakshu. So that is nothing but how do I develop an attitude where I have completely removed the ego and me, mine, that kind of mentality, or basically dropping the ahankara and mamakara. So that helps me, to see the Vishwarupam. So uh, basically understanding that the God, we all would like to normally visualize God as the creator and sometimes as the sustainer, but we find it very hard to imagine God as a destroyer, even though the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva represents that, but then sometimes we in our ignorance, we are not able to associate God as a destroyer, but then, the Vishwarupa Darshanam helps us in realizing that God is the Srishti, Sthiti, and the Laya Karma. So the moment we have, a clear understanding of this, then whatever, once I have developed this kind of an attitude, then I can see God everywhere and in every place, in everything. So that is, we don't have to, whatever I see as good and bad. So, Bhagavan knows how to maintain the balance. So he knows how to maintain the balance in the Jagat. So which means all the good things as well as the bad things that apparently, our mind sees is nothing but the Bhagavan himself. So which means, till till the time I realize this, I have an attitude of a raga or a dvesha, so I have an attachment and a hatred and so on, and I'm judgmental. I know he is good, not good, and so those are the things that we keep, and or we keep looking for God, in a particular form and name, and all those things get shattered once I have the understanding that the God is in everything and everything is in God. So that's my understanding of Vishwarupa. So okay, what do I get once I have this understanding? What do I get? Which I can apply in my own daily life. The first and foremost thing is giving up the hatred. So since the moment I understand, that everything is Lord only, I know I do not then get attached to one and hate something else. Everything plays a role in maintaining the harmony is what I see. So which is nothing but I mean we know, we have talked about this, from a raga perspective, but even from a dvesha parihara perspective also we can see that I don't hate. I mean, I cannot or I should not hate anything because whatever I see is nothing but God. I have this thing. The second one is, developing humility. Once we complete the next chapter, once we get into the 13th chapter, so we will, get into more details about those 20 virtues that we talked about. So, in one of the topmost, the virtues that is talked about is amanitvam, which is nothing but a sense of pridelessness or having a humility in the whole thing. And once I know everything belongs to the Bhagwan only, then I can actually enjoy everything with a sense of not owning everything because I'm just a custodian, and I've been allowed to enjoy to the extent of my past karmas, and that kind of really opens up and makes things simpler and easier for us. The third is, because whatever I see or experience in the world, all the panchaputams or, anything in nature, I'm supposed to see only Lord there. And hence, anything and everything I see it with a sense of, a sacredness. So there is nothing which is not sacred or secular here. So which means, which includes all sentient beings as well as inert beings that I'm talking about, or it could be somebody from, it could be in any name, form. I have the same attitude. I think if you're able to develop that, once I have a clear understanding of Vishwarupam, then this attitude kind of gets developed. And because, the more and more I see the universe as a Lord, my mind actually expands and I see the totality of this whole experience. And which means, my mind actually becomes, expanded, and I'm able to appreciate everything. So these are basically, this is what I talked about. I wanted to talk about. So from Ekarupa Darshanam to Anekarupa Darshanam to Arupa Darshanam, with only bhakti as the sadhana. And I'm sure, we have gone through that in pretty much in detail, and I'm sure others will also talk about the Ananya Bhakti and so on. But this is what I wanted to share as my
Beautiful. Thank you, Sakuba. If you can go back to the last slide.
Yeah.
As you are presenting these slides, it seemed to me that this is the dark Krishna with Pitambaram, the yellow thing that you have wrapped around, which is very beautiful. Okay, anyway, that was a comment. Anybody has any questions for Sakuba to clarify what he said?
Sakuba, excellent summary. Thank you. Just wanted to ask, I didn't fully grasp the second point. Developing humility, I get it. But what do you mean when you say, I'm just a custodian?
Yeah, so when I don't have the divya chakshu, or basically if I've not dropped my ahankara and mamakara, so then I associate everything as, okay, this is my family, this is my house, and this is my whatever it is, and so on. So moment I know that whatever is in this universe, it only belongs to him, and I am only allowed to enjoy without having a sense of ownership. I'm just a custodian, and I'm not allowed to, nothing belongs to me. I may have a great house or a car, maybe because of my past karma and what I have, got through from my karmic account. But other than that, there is nothing that actually belongs to me. I think that's because many of us, many people in the world will just associate, this is my car. This is, it not only just in material things, but even to relationships, right? There is nothing, even that I don't own anything. Like, we have talked about this even from kids' perspective, right? The kids are born through us and not, owned by us, or they're not born to us, actually.
No, got it. Thank you. That's helpful.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yeah, Sakuba, the third point, what you said, see everything is sacred. As you were going through the slide, there is nothing secular, that hit me quite hard, actually. That was a very well worded, I would say, a statement what you made here. And, as a corollary to that, I think that that would also help us. This is what I was taking away as you were presenting it. That would also help us to use all these natural resources to the extent that we would need it, not necessarily to the extent that you would misuse it, which is the most important thing in the current conditions what we have today, given the huge amount of environmental challenges that we're facing.
Yeah, true, and yeah, very, very rightly said. Respecting even everything, that any resource that I am consuming, I have I'm thankful to the Lord, and and using it in the appropriate sense, so that I don't imbalance the balance that the Bhagavan has created, right? So that's. I think, yeah, that's something.
Excellent presentation, Sakuba. Thank you. Very nicely put.
But yeah,
of course, I need to learn how to make it so simple. I have actually made not a very big, but quite an exhaustive presentation. But anyway, Sakuba, thank you.
One comment, Srini, before you go. So in yoga, there is this concept called Pratipaksha Bhavanam, right? And which is basically to develop the opposite thought to overcome certain impurities, right? Like in this case, so you talk about overcoming hatred as an example by developing the opposite thought. In this case, that hey, because the hatred is there and you don't directly control it, right? It's there as a samskara, as an example, right? How do you get rid of that samskara that's deep rooted in your subconscious? And so one way is to develop this opposite thought. And in this case, the opposite thought is that, hey, there is no need to hate because this is also the creation, right? And there is no need to do that. So you're developing the opposite thought in that sense. Just wanted to add that as a um,
No, I was looking for that exact term. Yeah, I think we have talked about Pratipaksha Bhavana, before too. Yeah, perfectly
Thank you.
fitted. Yeah.
Excellent. Super.
Thank you. So I'll stop sharing and Pete, I think, are you going?
Yeah, Pete, you can go.
Yes. Can somebody share my slide? I'm on a mobile.
Oh, okay.
I will share. I will share. I will share.
I will not be.
1 second. So you have to give me a cue, okay, to change. So,
So while you're bringing this thing up, I think the reason why I kind of insist on that we do this revision is not because we are going to share quote unquote anything new with the rest of the group. It's only for us to synthesize the knowledge what we are learning.
What happened to Subbu? Subbu is not joined today.
Subbu had a satsang that he could not have missed.
Okay.
in PowerPoint, sorry, in PDF full screen, where does it appear?
View.
1 second.
Yes, I'm able to see. There it is.
I want to go into the full screen.
No, don't do that, Sakuba. Just go to the screen, top left corner, left side, remove the cross, edit that symbol cross, remove that. More. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sakuba, request also to move the screen when I say next. Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Hari Om, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga, the summary. So, next slide, Sakuba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, a very relevant sloka from the 9th chapter is very relevant here. And it is also part of the other sloka. Ananya sinta entomam ejanar paryutpane tesham nitya yuktanam yoga kshemam aham yayam. Leaving all other thoughts, those who worship me will always be protected by me. So I think this is what is the conclusion which happens in 11.55. So we are tending towards this, and I thought I will start my presentation with this. Next slide, Satba. Yeah, as Sakuba put it already, for example, thanks to Rajesh for actually, making me do this presentation. I had to go through the entire chapter again, and it was a very, very, eye opener to see this chapter in a different way. And whenever you want to put your aha movements into it, it takes, even more effort to look into each slokas particularly, and also try to understand, what is better. So chapter 11 summary actually begins with Arjuna's question. It is in the first two verses that I have understood the teachings and my moham has gone. But so this is where Swami P jokingly says, if this but was not there, the entire Bhagavad Gita would have finished, because Arjuna has already claimed that he has understood the entire teaching, right from the second chapter to the 10th chapter. So in the first verse, the essence of Jiva Rupam, which is the first 5 verses of the Bhagavad Gita, where he clearly, gives that he has very clearly understood the Jiva Swarupam. And in the second verse is the essence of the Ishvara Swarupam, which is, 7, 9, and 10. Which again, as Akuba rightly put it, if Bhagavan is the cause of the world, he is also the effect. And cause cannot be separated from the effect. Vishwarupa Vibhuti is avyayam, which is inexhaustible. So which means that it is always present in the world. And, Arjuna accepts this, that he has understood the entire thing. So the Arjuna's predicament, starts when he says, one side I say everything is God, but when I come to the interaction, there is a heavy raga dvesha. You can also call it hamkara, mamakara, or also you have the other, differences when it comes to interaction. So there is a difference between what I know and what I am. Is what Arjuna tries to explain here. He says, I have understood your teaching. My intellect has actually accepted everything, but in my interaction, no, I'm not able to understand what exactly happens. So still, I'm struggling with what needs to be done. And actually, there is a difference between what I know and what I am. So here, I am able to understand, but nothing happens to me when I'm looking at the world. In fact, I'm getting more angry with the way things are going. So this is one great aha moment. So as Sakuba rightly put it, we also get the hatred towards the world when we see the bad things which is happening. So why this hatred is coming? When I understood the teaching properly, why this hatred is coming is what was Arjuna's predicament, and the same predicament is applying to me also. In fact, I have understood the Jiva Swarupam, the Ishva Swarupam. We know God is the entire creation and He is the Nimitta Karanam, He is the Upadarana Karanam. But still, we are not able to visualize or realize the Vishwarupa Darshan. When we try to find out everything around us is God, is the creation of God, and we need to take it in that stride. So that is when, Arjuna in the third verse, he asks, I wish to see your divine form, O Parameshwara and Purushottama. I specifically put this Parameshwara and Purushottama here because Swami P is emphatically saying whether it is Parameshwara or Purushottama, both are the same. So there is no difference between Vishnu or Shiva. In a Shiva temple, you can do a Vishnu Sahasranamam, and again in a Vishnu temple, you can go and pray Shiva. So the difference between Shiva and Vishnu are only between the two religions, but actually, as far as God is concerned, there is no difference. So he wants to bring that there is no difference at all between anything which is there in the world, and everybody is one. So coming to my next slide, Sakuba, sorry.
Yeah.
So this is where we need to understand that the Vishwarupa Darshan is requiring a prepared mind. So a prepared mind, it is an object of experience which should be available for me. And it is not enough that the object of experience is available, but also we require a subject of experience, an experiencer who is prepared enough to appreciate the experience. So the preparation part is very, very important, the attitudinal change. So this is what Swami P also keeps emphasizing, that the attitudinal change is very much important. So a prepared mind, an ahankara, mahankara, hita mind, and that prepared mind is called the third eye or the divya chaksu. So it is not a miracle, or it is not a divine intervention. It is only the preparation which is required by ourselves, so that we can understand what exactly is the Vishwarupa Darshan. And Swami P always keeps saying that the best avatara is the Vishwarupa Darshan. In the Rama Avatara and Krishna Avatara, you can see them only for only for the time they are alive, or only in a certain period you can see them. But the Vishwarupa Darshan is always available as an avatara, which we can utilize to see the Almighty always. So the preparation actually will take years of Karma Yoga. It will also take the Panchamaha Yajna and also a religious way of life. So it is not easy, to get into the Vishwarupa Darshan. It requires meticulous practice, and it can also take several years based upon your prarabdha, and it also depends upon person to person. So coming to the fourth verse, O Lord, you consider that it can be seen by me, then you show me your inexhaustible form, O Lord. So this is what Arjuna wants to understand, that what exactly is Vishwarupa Darshan. And here is my second aha moment. In fact, it was like Arjuna is speaking for us. So we also know that there is a darshan, but how to understand what is that darshan. So it actually led me to understand through Arjuna what exactly is the Vishwarupa darshan. So 5th to 8th verse, the Lord explains his beauty in all that matters. 9 to 11 verse, quickly I put it. The brilliance of Lord is explained by Sanjaya also. 12th verse, again, the brilliance of the thousand suns rising simultaneously, that will be compared to the brilliance of the grace Lord. 13th verse, the body of the Lord of Lords, Arjuna, at this time, the entire universe, the manifold divisions placed. So why I all put this is to get the sequence that, as we always speak, it is not just, the Vishwarupa Darshan, what we see, the entire brilliance, the thousand suns, the beauty of the Lord, the beauty of the nature is also a part of the Vishwarupa Darshan. So 14th verse is the verse where Arjuna was wonderstruck and thrilled and saluted the Lord with his head bent low and spoke with the folded palms. So Arjuna's first reaction starts. He is wonderstruck. It is called Vismaya. So Arjuna was struck by wonder not because he is seeing a new thing, very important here, but he has a new perspective towards an ordinary thing. So that is from verse 15 to 22, and which again is aha moment. So when you try to see a Vishwarupa Darshan, you are not seeing something new, but only your perspective towards seeing the world changes. As Sakuba rightly put it, once we take the negative attitude also in our stride, then I think we are going to make progress towards seeing everything as positive. So that was a good insight from Sakuba's presentation. So 15 to 22nd verse, a beautiful description of Vishwarupa Darshan by Arjuna. So once Arjuna sees the Vishwarupa Darshan, he is wonderstruck. So whatever sees gives you a spiritual good, but how you see alone guarantees the spiritual growth. So if you want to go through a spiritual growth, you need to have this different perspective of seeing the world. Seeing higher lokas is not Vishwarupa Darshan, but seeing ordinary lokas as the very body of Lord is being emphasized here. And the Laddu example given by Swami P, we know, which again emphasize the fact that we need to see the world differently. Quickly going to the next slide, Sabuga.
What is the Laddu example?
So the Laddu example is, when the ordinary Laddu is given, we just take it and then we gobble it. But if the same Laddu is, the Tirupati Laddu, the entire attitude towards the Laddu changes. It first goes to our eyes. We pray the Laddu and then very carefully, eat the Laddu. We also ensure nothing falls down. So Swami P very excellently puts it that there is no chemical change in the Laddu. No, it is only our bhavana towards the Laddu changes. So this is what is required, a change of bhavana. So a very simple and neat example given by Swami P. 23rd to 30 verse, the fear takes over Krishna, seeing many mouths and tongues. So here the mouth is represented by the Kala Tattvam. Sakuba also put it. So the Bhagavan is the Sthiti and Laya Karanam. So in the 19th verse, the mouth was described as a huge fire, but in the 23rd to 30 verse, it is the entire Kala Tattvam. And you need to understand that the creation and the destroyer is also Lord, and you need to give equal emphasis for both creation and destruction. So if you see Vishwarupa as pair of opposites, it will frighten you. If you look upon them as a complementary as a whole, it will not frighten you. So Vishwarupa appreciation means I should accept birth and death both as Mangalam. So this very neat word as Mangalam. Whenever there is a baby born, in the family, we say it is a Mangalam. It is a good, sign. But again, death, we don't take it like that. So he very systematically says the death is also Mangalam. It is as good as birth. So that is why, even in the Sandhya Vandanam, when we do, we also pray to Yama. Yama is supposed to be the god who is going to take us to the, next loka, or he comes after our death. But he is also equally important as what happens during birth. So 31st verse, Arjuna asks Krishna who you are and what is your function. So when he sees the fear factor coming into him, he wants to understand who really this Krishna is. So who you are and what is your function is what is Arjuna is asking. The Lord said, I am the mighty time, the destroyer of the world. I am proceeding to destroy the people here also. All the warriors who are arrayed in both the armies will cease to exist even without you. So again, he says, I am Kala Tattvam. And both Kala and Desha are Ishvara. So both the time and space and object, everything is Ishvara, and we need to understand this, before we start appreciating the Vishwarupa Darshan. So 33rd verse. Therefore, get up and attain fame, conquer the enemies, enjoy the prosperous kingdom. Indeed, they have been already killed by me. So be a mere instrument, O Arjuna, the ambidextrous bowman. I specifically brought this, 33rd verse here, just to make this statement. Next slide, Subha. Here, actually, Krishna has made a very, very crucial statement, which we have to analyze. So he says that Nimitta Matram Bhavana, may you simply become my instrument. So these people are already dead and gone. So here, there are certain, set of people who think that, we need to be only the instrument of the God. We are puppets. And, there is no free will at all. It is only, fatalistic, view. Everything is controlled by God. And, these people don't even put any effort. So here, Swami P says, becoming the instruments in the land, in the hands of the Lord is following a dharmic course of action. So when you say, I am the instrument of the God, I mean that, I should follow the dharmic actions. And also the Bhagavan controls the world through dharma. So the first, he brings the Kala Tattvam. He says, I am the creator. And the second, he says, I also have to control dharma. So don't look at me, as only a person who will, support you on the good deeds. I also need to take care of the world. I also need to control the dharma. So I'll be responsible for the other evil activities also. Not evil, but it is actually, which is coming from your prarabdha. So Bhagavan harmonizes the world through dharma, and use your free will to follow dharma and not become fatalistic. So a very, very, relevant portion. My second aha moment, where he says that I am the controller of the dharma. I'm not somebody who offers to people who pray to me. Of course, I need to do that also, but I am also responsible for keeping the dharma in the place in the world. Also, Arjuna understands Krishna is karma pala data, which means that he is the controller of the karma, and learn to see suffering as a purification process. My second aha moment, Sakuba very nicely put it. You need to take hatred to the next level. But again, as Swami P says, we need to take the negative aspects which is happening to us also as the purifying process, rather than trying to, suffer and ensure that, the suffering will go and the next phase will start. So when Arjuna recognizes the Lord as Karmapala Data, then Arjuna's attitude changes totally. So now the attitude of Ascharyam and Bhayam, both of them are replaced by attitude of surrender and bhakti. So this is the next phase which starts, where the surrender or bhakti starts. So this is called surrender of the free will to the law of karma. So it is only surrendering to the karma of the Lord. So which again will lead to the Vishwarupa Darshan. And Dayanand Swami defines the Lord as the order of creation, which means that the entire creation is in a particular order, which we need to understand. Next slide, Sakura. So Arjuna begins this response. So this is the third stage of Arjuna's response, which is one of the devotion of surrender. Asharyam or wonderment is over. The second stage, Bhayam or fear, is gone. And now it is giving away to surrender and Saranagati. In fact, according to the Vedanta, only through Vishwarupa appreciation, we can go to Nirguna Brahman. From Ekarupa Bhakti, one has to necessarily come to Vishwarupa appreciation, the universal law of karma, the law of dharma and adharma. So this we need to understand. So let me accept the choiceless situation is the third aha moment. So there is no choice. So whatever situation comes to our life, we need to accept. So once we get this maturity, then I think we are going to appreciate anything which happens to us in the world, and anything around us will look as a element of God and as the creation of God. Sorry, just one more slide to go.
Yeah.
You are the abode of the universe. You do not live in the universe lives in you. This already we discussed. Chapter 10 in the Vibhuti, he says everything in the universe, I'm there. But in chapter 11, he says the entire universe is in me. So 36 to 39 is again glorification of Krishna as the controller of world. And the cause and effect appears alone, and the cause alone appears as the manifold effects. So the final slide, Sakuba. Yeah. So here Arjuna's was regarding Krishna as his friend, and also he was saying that he behaved very rudely, indifferently, and affectionately uttered to me, who did not know the glory of yours. So here again is Arjuna's is a fear that all along he thought Krishna has to be as his friend, but actually Krishna is a very, very powerful creator of the universe. So Arjuna wants Krishna to return to his original form. So Arjuna completely surrenders to Krishna and says, only by surrender devotion we can see Vishwarupa Darshan. And even the Devas and Rishis aren't clear and can't see the Vishwarupa Darshan very easily and are craving for this darshan. So 55th verse, again revered by everybody. The verse was revered by Shankaracharya also. So he who does work for me, who is my devotee, who keeps me as a supreme goal, who is free from attachment and who is free from hatred towards all, reaches me, O Arjuna. So as a conclusion, Sakuba also put it, we need to elevate from Eka Rupa to Vishwarupa and finally to Arupa in the coming chapters. Thank you very much for the time, Hari Om. And also I am, happy to say that it took me the entire Saturday yesterday, sat till the night, and then went through this chapter. And before I close, I was always thinking chapter 10, 11, and 12 to be something like a Bhakti Yoga. No? Like always, I was putting it at the as a second, learning. And I was always thinking the Jnanam is the best. Once you attain knowledge, then ultimately you achieve everything. But again, Jnanam combined with the Bhakti is required. Is my final aha moment. And I think Sanjaya also appreciated the Vishwarupa Darshan as the best yoga of Krishna. So with this, I conclude my presentation. And once again, thank you for giving me this excellent opportunity. Hari Om.
Awesome. Very, very good. I think you wove through your insights very well into the presentation. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Pete?
Yeah, so very, very nice, Peter. Especially I like the summary of verse 33. I think it was like a good revision. So that that was good. So I just have only one question or an observation. So this, let me accept this choiceless situation. Is there any other way to put it? I know I understand where you're coming from, but is there any other way to put this? Because if you accept this as okay, I'm giving up everything, and I can't do anything, and let me accept this. So that is more like I have given up everything and I'm accepting the situation versus I understand the you as the entire universe, and I don't have any control over the situation. No, I won't say I don't have control. I'm saying that you are the one who decides what has to happen. So I'm just wondering, is there any other way to put the same sentence, in a more positive way?
Yeah, understood, Sakuba. I think when you say choiceless, I think to me personally is whenever you're stuck with something, whenever you're not able to deliver something, you become a little bit worried, or you're not able to understand why this happens to me. So that situation also needs to be accepted. So which I feel, why me? That condition has to go, is my personal thought here. Of course, I'm also like you, I'm not there to accept everything as a joy. If something happens to me, I can't keep laughing. I need to understand why it happened. But I think that is the ultimate thing we need to achieve. And it comes through maturity, is what my feeling is. Because Swami B keeps saying, it is not that you need to accept everything and then take everything upon you. He says that is suppression. So you need not get into suppression, but you need to get into acceptance. So I think there the subtle difference is there. How do you accept this? Is what is we need to learn further, and make our thinking process more mature. So I have understood till that. If somebody can throw more insights into this, I also want to understand. Like how to accept these choiceless situation, right?
So can I add to this thing, right? So well explained, answer to Sakuba's question, right? The way that I think about this choiceless situation is, if you look at the word choiceless itself, right? I think as an individual, we have already made a decision saying that whatever that situation is choiceless. Okay, then if there is no choice in that at all, then what's the whole point jumping up and down in that situation? Just accept it, move on. Now, where the trouble happens is that the mind has not yet evaluated fully as to what is a choiceless situation and what can be potentially the choices. So basically, let's say we're facing a particular situation, okay? And in that particular situation, if we are reacting only with our manas and not thinking from the intellect perspective, then chances are you might be, dilly-dallying between whether this is a choiceless situation or a choiceful situation. But then when you step back in the calmness of your mind, go to the intellect and think about that situation and decide, okay, looks like I don't think I can do much about it right now. And when that decision comes from the intellect level, that it is choiceless situation, then the best course of action is to just accept it. But if the intellect says, no, there is a small choice, and here is an alternate for you for the choice, then I don't think that we have a choice other than to just follow what the intellect has decided. So all in all, what I'm saying is that this is a beautiful psychology of the human mind where we seem to be interacting with quote unquote the external world, okay, always with that emotional drama that goes on in our mind. You get rid of that emotional drama, then I think situations become much more easier to take a decision.
Excellent. Yes.
Very true,
Srini,
Kishore.
excellent.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Go
yes.
ahead, Vidya.
So we've got three hands raised. I saw Rick raise it first, so let's
Yeah,
give it
sorry.
to Rick.
Okay.
Okay. Choiceless is not always a bad thing. Who we are, the self, is choiceless. Is that a bad thing? So I'm just saying, and that's another viewpoint. Also, for example, this past week, I had a dear friend of mine die. Now, there's nothing I could do about that. A choiceless situation, if you will. All that I can do is surrender and act dharmically as I see, which in this case was reaching out to his wife. But again, I think surrender and acting dharmically as we see it, and also remembering that choiceless is not necessarily a bad thing.
Beautiful, Rick. Thank you.
Before,
Okay.
so, can I, Rajesh, can I just say 10 seconds something? So, when I say choiceless, so, it should not lead to some kind of a Tomsic mentality, like, okay, let it happen, because anyway I can't do anything, so let it happen, so that's not what it is being referred to, right? So I think Gutex clearly gave, the example of, thinking back, and then I'm sure your intellect will suggest something, that could have been done in the situation, and then you do that. I mean, so that I agree. So I was only saying that it should not lead to this thing that, I since I don't have a choice, so let me not do anything. No, that's not an option that is available.
Correct.
Sorry.
Correct.
Next.
Okay. Vidya.
Srini, and that was really fantastic. Beautiful summary of the chapter. And I had the same question why you use that choiceless word. And I feel that word can be just deleted. If you just delete that word, that makes sense. And that's exactly how Rick explained, whether it's good or bad, you just accept. It's just surrender. And then you understand why you accept. So you can say choiceless, it's a great word. You can also say choiceful. So if you negate both of them, there's, that word itself goes away. That's how I would put it. And then I like how Kishore, explained in the chat accept the life serenity principle. But I was
You
just
can't go out of the
amazed
matrix
by
so
how.
fast.
Yes, I was amazed, Srini, how you presented. You beautifully, nailed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Shyamala?
Thanks, Rajesh. Ajay and Saku, Srini, excellent presentations. The way I have started to assimilate this choiceless is by replacing it with a result of my previous choice. If we really look at the karma philosophy, and I can share a couple of videos that really nailed this down for me, BK Shivani's videos. Every ball that is coming back at us is a ball thrown by us into the universe. We probably, some will come back immediately, some will come back later, but nothing is coming back at us without us having to do something about it in the past. We have done something, and so we are receiving it back. So if you replace that choicelessness as, this is helpless situation, I haven't, why me kind of thing, we don't remember it. But there was a trigger that we had in the past, or we have kicked this whole chain reaction in the past, which we don't remember. And so what's coming to us is very fair, whether we like it or not. So if you really apply the karma philosophy and to the true spirit of it and accept that everything is fair, it answers some questions for me saying, yes, I don't like it. I may feel I don't have a choice. But indeed, this is something that I have done in the past, or a chain reaction that I've started in the past. That nails a lot of things down, I think. So it's not a helpless acceptance, but an acceptance of a result of a choice that we made in the past.
Excellent.
Very well said.
Very well said.
I would say,
Just to
well,
add-
I have another aspect of that too. So like when an airplane crashes and you happen to be on that plane, I don't know that you did anything. You got caught up in a collective karma. So again, I think sometimes in situations, the world, for example, we have to have a trust in the Lord, that the Lord has all of this in his grasp. And we may not see all the tentacles, but they're all there ultimately to bless us, because that's the purpose of creation. But I also very much agree that everything that comes at us, to the degree we can see, we can help to accept it as our own karma and to grow from it, which is what the situation offers.
Excellent.
Nice.
If I can just add to what Shyamala said, excellent example, Shyamala, about the ball thrown in the past coming down at us in a good or a not so good way. So I think just to take that thought further, where we definitely have a choice is to learn from that past experience or the karma phala that we've got, and you have the choice to now throw the ball in a way that it is going to give me a kind of a good outcome in the future, right? So this that's again expanding the whole philosophy of karma, that I don't control what has happened in the past. I don't control, but I definitely control what might happen in the future. So I have a choice to make today for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to add that I like the example, but at the same time, the reason we are looking at how the ball is thrown back is in a good or bad way, right? So we are still looking at it that we should do a good thing to get a good ball back. So that's where I differ in that example. Of course, we have done that way, but in future, when we have this choice of just surrender and do dharmic,
Exactly.
we cannot look at good or bad. You cannot.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. That one, Vidya. I mean, I think as long as we do karmas, which is consistent with dharma,
Correct.
then I think the outcome will be the right one, and that's
Actually,
what I
that's
think.
how I understood what Ajay was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Uday?
Sorry, can I go? One more perspective
No,
of
please raise
choice.
your hand. Uday has raised his hand.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. Unmute
Yeah,
yourself.
please.
Unmute. Uday, you have to unmute.
Oh, I was saying, Peter, you can go ahead. It's all right. I was bringing up a new this thing anyways.
No, I was
So
just actually trying to speak at the same topic. See, when we say a choiceless situation, for example, a baby not being born properly, we don't have a choice, correct? So in that case, in fact, I'm having this doubt also. Suppose we have some children not born in the normal way. So is it our prarabdha karma, or should we say it is the child's prarabdha karma? So how do you differentiate this? So there is a small difference. Can we say it is the child's karma, so he has to suffer? Is that the way to put it, or is it a part of our prarabdha karma also? To deliver a children like this. So there is a small dichotomy here. So if somebody can clarify, it would be helpful. Because
Yeah.
being a choiceless
I,
situation, I think I can bring this topic.
I
Sorry,
can
Uday. Sorry, Uday.
no problem.
probably give my own example. My second child was supposed to be born differently, and I was asked to take him out, but I prayed and I said, no, I won't. And he's normal, he's good, but I have seen all the medical records and I know that it was not correct. So you still have the choice, and you can't go to a place where it's your prarabdha or somebody's prarabdha and get into those vicious circle, and just have to do what you have to do.
Hey, when Rick talked about that example of a plane crash, I just remember I'm reading this book called Journey of Souls. Has anyone read that book, Journey of Souls? Okay, that's got nothing to do with Vedanta, but the author is so convinced about the karma theory that he had to rely on the karma theory. In that, it's a beautiful read. But what I'm saying is, apparently, we all make our choices into the kind of situations we want to be in even before we are born, right? Those situations where where people are in a famine or in an airplane crash or etc. There is a reason. Apparently we make that choice based on what we need to learn or evolve, what our soul needs to evolve into. So we have perhaps made those choices. What we think of as choiceless situations are choices we had made at a prior point in our journey. That could be a perspective as well. Yeah? It's not truly choiceless, but we have made our choices. So if you look at it as this is my choice, then you will have a more positive approach to that situation. Yeah, that's what I wanted to share. Thanks.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Well said, Uday.
Beautiful, Uday. Beautiful.
Kishore.
Yeah, I know. Excellent points. Actually, the way I've started looking at this, one is exactly what you just said, which is that if you really analyze, and I've done this in my personal life as well, which is why, often we say, why is it happening to me, or why me, right? To Shamla's point. But then if you trace it back, really analyze it and trace it back, you will see that there is a connection. More often than not, there is a connection, right? And you would see why, because it's your own karma that's in some ways coming through. And what is that? How does that actually manifest itself, right? When we say karma, it sometimes comes across as a punishment, and it is not, right? It is more around the way I look at it is through the samskara or vasana theory, right? In the sense that these karmas are manifesting itself as samskaras, and it's there in us from previous births. And to neutralize those samskaras, certain situations, if you look at it from a higher perspective, Those situations are presented to us because we have to go through this path, and those samskaras and vasanas have to be neutralized. And those situations are the only way these can be neutralized. Just like I think I don't remember which Swamiji he mentioned, even to get diamond out of the rough, there is a friction needs to be friction is there, right? Only then you can get diamond out of the rough. In the same way, friction is going to happen to purify the mind. It's required, and that's the only way to neutralize those samskaras. Hence, those situations are provided to you as a means to neutralize it, right? So each one of us will have different ones because our samskaras and the vasanas that we carry are different, and hence that's yet another way of accepting it, saying that, hey, we are looking at it purely from our perspective, but when you zoom out and look at it from a universal cosmic perspective, then there's definitely yet another way of looking at it. Thank you.
Awesome. Alpana?
Just a gentle reminder that at the moment we have a choice to accept that we are Brahman, and no other choice will ever matter.
Thank you for the reminder, Kalpana. Rick?
Two things here. One, analyzing karma is a little like trying to take one noodle out of a plate of spaghetti. You can't always have any real grasp of a particular situation and why it was caused. You might, but you might not. Drishta, adrishta, let alone from previous births. Also, the comment that I made about collective karma, like, I know the idea that dying in a plane accident seems terrible, but if we accept the Vedas as revealed knowledge, and we accept reincarnation, we accept that nothing is lost, and that the next birth will take up spiritually or jiva-wise from where we were. So I think that that's important. Again, I guess I'm really talking about that we just have to have a greater sense of surrender. I mean, this is out of my own experience, but 6 million Jews were killed in World War II. I don't believe all of them had the karma that they should die in that situation, but yet they were caught up in something. Now, just as a footnote to that terrible tragedy, my mother's father, my grandfather, he had some glimpse of what was going to happen and got his family out of there. So there were choices too for people who were involved. I mean, Einstein was asked to participate in the science of creating the cyanide, the gas that killed the Jews and others in the concentration camps, and he refused. But yet they're unbelievable to him. There were actually Jewish scientists who participated in that. That's a whole different thing, but you get the point I'm trying to make here.
Excellent, Rick.
Awesome. Any other last one question for Pete or comment on what Pete presented? Okay, cool. So two things. Before I do my presentation, I just want to share this this interesting conversation that I had on Friday with this lady called Janki Santok. And the reason why I'm bringing this thing up here is that I was planning to invite Dr. Janki Santok to our satsang, maybe after 1 or 2 weeks. The context is Dr. Janki Santok is maybe a 35 years. She's been studying Vedanta under Dr. Parthasarathi, who apparently Krishna knows. Krishna started his Vedanta journey under that Swamiji's guidance, looks like it. Okay, and Parthasarathi ji seems to be a disciple of Swami Chinmayananda. And this lady has been asked to start a university, Vedanta University, that she's trying to do it. And she's trying to set it up somewhere between Bombay and Pune, someplace near Raigad. There is a university that she's planning to set up, a physical building. and then look at how we can contribute to it. So the whole idea of what she's trying to do is she seems to be on the idea of trying to find like-minded individuals who can contribute it to that particular effort in any way, either in the form of participating directly or indirectly, or whichever way that comes in. And so she's sort of reaching out to multiple people, and somehow I got connected to her, and and I thought it will be a good opportunity for us to kind of listen to her, and then whether we want to participate in what she wants to do or not as individuals, that's up to us. But at least we can probably hear from her and understand what her vision is, and then figure out if we can support her in some fashion or the other. That's one thing. The other thing is, given the fact that she's been a living Advaitic student for a long time now, and also been a teacher for a long time. Looks like she's pretty popular on YouTube and some of the classes. So I requested her if she can come and talk to us for about 30 minutes, and then followed by Q&A on a particular topic. She asked me to pick a topic, and I said, okay, I'm going to, I suggested impromptu to her as to a topic about how the interplay of gunas happen in real life. And at this point, I want to make it clear that her focus seems to be using Vedanta and Advaita for solving day-to-day problems that we would face with, rather than moksha. That's how I have understood it. But that's a different topic, but maybe that's a clarification that we'll have to ask her. So, my request to her was, okay, hey, can you talk about in 30 minutes about how the interplay of gunas would happen in our daily life and what we can do about it? So she's going to come and talk to us about it, followed by Q&A, which may be a good introduction for us as well as we go into the future chapters when it comes to that. So that's what I want to share here. So any questions, comments on that?
Sorry, where did you say she's going to set up that university?
Somewhere near Raigad, someplace between Bombay.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like by by July 15th or something like that, the Maharashtra government is likely to make a decision on the land award for the university. But they're still waiting for that. It looks like they've raised a lot of money to pay for that land, but the government has to approve that it can be used for that purpose.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many people listened to the talk that she gave. Did anybody listen to it besides me? So I listened to the talk, the whole talk, and I also went to Amazon and read 30 pages or whatever the excerpt was from her book. And Rajesh, I have to agree with you. She seems much more interested in a yogic approach and a day-to-day, everyday life experience than moksha. Actually, I found much of what she said lacking. Not that what she said I necessarily had an argument with, but tracing it back to and its relationship to who we are and to moksha, I found particularly missing. Again, I'm not judging. This is my take. That's why I wondered if others had listened to.
Yeah, I got that sense myself when I was talking with her, but I did not read her or listen to her thing. I just saw that she referred to her talk with Sarvapriyanandaji. So, and I know that this group is a big fan of Sarvapriyanandaji. So that was like my click and wait for all of you there. Yeah.
Yeah, Rick. The one reason could be that when we write a book, I mean, when she's writing a book, and if you want to cater to an audience that is not yet ready, you got to reach to the audience where they are, and the types of things that are top of mind for a lot of people, right? So in which case, that's kind of one way of looking at it, one way to see why the focus may be one was the mental preparation versus moksha. It could be.
Yeah, I guess again, my own reaction, if we're going to say this is Vedanta, then I went Vedanta.
Yeah.
But
that's true. No, but her underlying framework might be, and Vedanta, however, how it's presented might be at a surface level. Could be.
All
Well,
right.
she's put a lot of thought into her thesis. I mean, when you read what she wrote, she's got 12 different aspects of how desire works. But what I, again, find lacking is that, yes, it's true, we want happiness, but we want lasting happiness. We want a happiness, a fullness, a completeness that will not fade. And that's not really addressed. Also, what's not addressed is that all happiness comes from the self. I think it's really important to, if you're going to talk about what she did, you have to show that, you have to make that clear. And I know her approach to the problem with desire is it causes the mind to be worked up. But if you understand that all happiness, all desires, all happiness comes from the self, then you have an opportunity to diffuse the power of desire, because you know what you're really after is yourself. And then desires change because it's more like a rope that's been burnt. Even if it has the shape, it can't bind anyone. My view.
Yeah. 100% agree. 100%.
Okay, so I will invite her. I'll find a slot. I'll invite her before maybe we start chapter 12. And then let's see where the discussions goes. And of course, we are free to ask her whatever questions that we want to ask her. And it could be uncomfortable questions also. That's fine, because I think she's in the public domain. So she probably would love to hear some questions like that. That's okay. Okay. All right. So now let me take a few minutes to share my summary. And pardon me, I tried to attempt something different this time. So if it does not come out pretty well, I would apologize for that. So let me share my screen. Can anyone tell me, how do you present on a slideshow mode with Google Docs and still be able to see what the next slide is going to come? Presenter view. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see full screen.
Okay. So this is a quick summary of what I had missed earlier when I was reviewing the chapter 11. And like Petai, I also went through a lot of revision in the last couple of days. And one thing what I did was that I picked up a book from Gita Press that was in Hindi, and I went through word by word, meaning what in Hindi, the way that it's explained, and then I tried to make sense of that particular thing from Swami Chinmayananda's book that we had. So there were a few things that I had missed. So let me see how we can do. So first of all, how would I understand and how would I remember Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga, which is the name of the chapter, right? So the way that I would like to understand this, I mean, when I read this from right to the left. So this is my way of remembering it. You may or may not like it, but that's this is how I would. Okay. So yoga, and if I go with the standard classical definition of yoga, it is chitta vritti nirodha. So basically, it is when the mind is restrained and you are unlearning all the false identification as what we have done today, then it would lead to a particular state within us, and that state is expressed in chapter 11 as Gnana Chakshu. So basically, when the ahankara and mamakara is dropped, when chitta and vritti are stopped, there is no identification of anything with you, with who you are, and then it opens up a Gnana Chakshu, and then it provides you the darshan. Darshan of what? Okay. So it provides you a darshan of what? And then I went back to and said, okay, let me go back and look at chapter 2, shloka 2.69. This is beautiful shloka. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani, Sanisha Pashyatu Mune. So what is, it's a pretty, one of those complex shlokas that Vedavyasa wrote, because he needed a pause from writing, from saying relentlessly, because Vinayaka Ganesha was writing it so furiously that he wanted to get some respite, so he wrote a complex shloka. And basically, the shloka basically says that whatever is day is night for that gnani, and whatever is night is day for the rest. So that's what it says. And I'm not going to go into the details, but basically what it summarizes is that it's a different vision of what a normal person would have. And that is what is Jnanachakshus. And when you see it with a different vision, then you're actually seeing it from the vision of a Gnani as to what this entire universe is all about. And of course, in all the things, what a Gnani is or sees is sadhana for people who are on the path. Therefore, we may not be able to see the entire Vishwarupa as a Gnani would see, but if you are able to practice that as a sadhana, then that itself is a good form of practice for us to get there in our path. So, what is Vishwarupa, right? So, a literal word, and this is where I was trying to bring in a little bit of Sanskrit and trying to do different things. Vishwarupa is a form. Rupa is form. A form that is Vishwa. That's what it would say. Okay. Now, what is Vishwa? Let's understand that a little bit more closely. So, when we look at Vishwa, there are multiple ways that you can slice and dice this. So, is it the entire universe? And if so, what is the definition of universe? Is it that the definition of universe is, if you draw a line and then you say, this is me as an individual here with my body and mind, the rest all is universe. Is that what we would say? That's one definition. Or you draw a line a little bit more further. Okay. Oh, no, I can even see what my body is. I can see my mind as well. Therefore, the rest all is universe. Okay. Or the interplay between me, the body, this body-mind complex, and this entire universe. Is that the universe? All the happenings that is happening between what is interface with all of them. So there are multiple ways that you can look at it from a universe perspective. There's also another universe definition perspective, which is when it comes to if we go back to Tattvabodha or Atmabodha, it talks about there are three states that we would experience as a human being, which is the awakened and dream state and deep sleep state. And there, the person who is in the awakened state is known as Vishwa, it says. Okay. So what does it mean? That word Vishwa means, is it that, when I as an individual am awake here, then whatever I see, is that what is the universe? Or is the universe the sum total of all the people who are awake at this point of time, not even people, I would say, all the beings that are awake? Okay, then that universe, is that what is the Vishwa? So I would like to put it the other way around. So imagine a point where all the people, all the beings, okay, living beings are awake. And what is that at that point of time observed? That I would say is the sort of definition of Vishwarupa. I know I'm not probably trying to slice and dice it and say that this is the only one. There'll be multiple definitions of how we would look at Vishwa. But I'm saying that Vishwa is not something that is just observed by you as an individual with this body and mind. It's much, much more beyond that. That's the key message that I want you to take away from that thing. Now let's look at Vishwa from another angle as well, which is what the Upanishad says. Upanishads, especially Chandogya Upanishad, actually says that the definition of Vishwa is Brahman. Okay, and then again we also talk about Purusha. Purusha is Vishwa, and then Purusha is also in Vishwa. What does it mean? So Vishwa is this creation, this entire creation, the common English word that we would use. Now, the creation can't exist in vacuum. There is somebody who has penetrated into that thing without leaving even a minutest space or time or whatever within that. And that tattva, that principle that permeates into the whole thing, if you look at the dictionary meaning of the word Vishnu, Vishnu is something that permeates. And where does he permeate? He permeates into Vishwa. So what I'm saying is that the Vishwa and Vishnu, both of them are indicating to the same, quote unquote, the principle, Purusha. And there are no different, and you cannot separate Vishwa and Vishnu. You cannot separate them out. Okay. And so when you look at that particular rupa, that particular form, not necessarily the form that we would imagine when we wake up and look out this universe, sun rising, moon setting, stars shining, and you see a huge mountain, you see oceans. That's all fine. I'm not saying that. But that rupa, which is this sum total of this huge universe, much beyond what our observed universe is, actually consists of all these qualities, which is a definition of Aishwarya. So when somebody says that this person is Aishwarya, bestowed with a lot of Aishwarya, that is apparently, given to the definition of Bhagavan. The word Bhagavan actually says that you are the individual who has all these things: Gnana, Aishwarya, Shakti, Bala, Virya, and Tejas. As in totality, there's no saying that, okay, 50% strength, 50% knowledge. No, 100% knowledge, 100% sovereignty, on sovereignty to do anything and everything what he wants to do. That's why he's a magician. 100% ability and potency to create whatever he wants to do, what he or she wants to do. Strength and virility and splendor. Everything is there, and everything is described in Vishwarupa in this chapter 11. And it sort of reminded me of Nirvana Shatakam, the last sloka, and Purusha Sukta. I will talk about Purusha Sukta sloka here. Right? So there are two. The verse third is Etavanasya Mahima Ato Jayagasya Purushaha Padosya Vishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Mrutam Divi. So Padosya Vishwa Bhutani. So whatever we experience here is only 1/4 of his glory. There's 3/4 of his glory that is not even experienced, not even able to see it. And beyond that is Purusha. So if you merge these topics of Vishwa and Vishnu, then you are able to understand that on a huge continuum, there is only a small piece which is created world where is used as a space for people like us to enjoy the karma phala and when I say enjoy, reap even the benefits of the karmas what we have done in the past. That's the playground what he has created for us to experience that in the path of getting into moksha and get out of the particular matrix and become that one. So that's the Vishwa what he has created for us. So whatever that you would experience as Vishwa is the playground for you in your path towards sadhana, and to moksha. Okay, so just put together a few ideas here, right? What is Vishwa? The universe we see today, living, non-living. How do you slice it? Living, non-living, moving, non-moving. Okay, all minds, humans, non-humans, all of them are included in that Vishwa. All spaces and many such spaces. It's not necessary to accept that whatever that we would imagine as part of this quote-unquote solar system, galaxy, and all that stuff is space. No, it's not that. There could be many, many more such spaces. And in fact, in some of the shlokas, they do say that just as he created this particular world, there could be multiple Brahmanda. Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda is what they say. Akhilanda Koti. You cannot even count how many crores of such Brahmandas are created in this particular universe. And why is it possible that somebody can create so many Akhilanda Koti Brahmanda Ishvara? Because it's all from his imagination, from his mind that is just springing up. Okay? So he can create. So all time, past, present, future. And the most important thing is any combination of this above. So you think about any combination of this above, that is Vishwa. You can think of all combination of this, that is Vishwa. And yet it is only 1/4. 1/4 is symbolic. I would say that, think of it as just one small figment of his glory. That is the Brahman, the glory of Brahman. So when we say in chapter 11, when he says, the glory, I saw you as a glory of 1,000 suns blazing simultaneously. What he's trying to say is that I just can't even tell you how glorious you are. Now think about this yourself. You see the sun, and there is a certain amount of glory in that brightness and in that light of the sun. But then you close your eyes, you're still able to see that particular glory within the glory in your own mind. That light which shines in your mind, which explains that particular glory, irrespective of the darkness, you can imagine a beautiful light, which is maybe you can even experience that beautiful light, which is maybe even much more brighter than the thousand suns. And that shines, even that light which is outside, which is the sun. Who is the one that is going to show you the sun out there or the moon out there in the night? Is the light within our own mind. And that's Brahman. Okay. Now, a couple of just changing topics. So in this particular book, what I read from Gita Press, so there is this transition that happens when Bhagavan does this Vishwarupa, and then Arjuna is, he's fearful. Then he says, I cannot see your Rupa anymore. Show me that Chaturbuja Rupa. Okay. So in Swami Chinmayananda book, it does not talk about this, but interestingly, in this book, it talks about this. So he says that he says that when Krishna says that, okay, this form of mine is difficult for everybody to see, did he mean his Vishwarupa or did he mean his Chaturbuja Rupa? So he is actually having this Shankha Chakra Gada Padma and wielding Rupa. So there is this book that I read from the Gita Press says that Vishwarupa is probably difficult to see, but even his four-handed Rupa is difficult for all the people to see. That's how that book interprets it. I don't know what could be right or wrong, because the book also argues saying that okay, if Krishna were to say that my Vishwarupa is not something that anybody can see, then he should have said that before he showed his four-handed Rupa. Why did he say after and all that? We don't need to get into that particular discussion, but it is a very interesting point. I probably will need to understand this. I don't know the answer to this. I probably will need to understand this because I have some doubts as well on this particular topic. But nevertheless, this is something that got stuck in my mind. Okay. Now, thanks to a little bit of back and forth with Sridhar, I changed the title of this particular topic and on this slide, and I'm kind of presenting it slightly differently. So is it necessary for us to see this vision? Right? When I say the vision, the vision of this multifolded Brahmandas, Akhilanda Koti Brahmandas, is it really necessary for us to see it? Answer is, it is not necessary for us to see it. But when will it come? It will come whenever it has to come. His grace is essential. That is absolutely clear. But the fact that we are seeing whatever that we are seeing in our own way, the quote unquote external world as what we would see, external universe as we see, we have to practice changing our vision towards that. That's the Divya Chakshu. And who is giving us the Divya Chakshu? It's not that there is somebody who's going to come and touch our forehead and say, now you got Divya Chakshu. It is the jnana that comes over a period of Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana that opens up our understanding of what this entire universe that we are seeing is. And that is what the Divya Chakshu is all about. And when would it come? It would come when we demonstrate the true bhakti. And what is true bhakti, right? True bhakti is, if you look at even the common definition of love, there's a subtle difference between love and attachment. Even let me take the example of a child and a parent and explain this. So if a parent is saying that I'm loving you, I love you as my child, and I want you to be always with me, that is not actually love. That is being attached, because there is a dependence, emotional dependence of the parent on the child for the child to be near him or her at that point of time. But when you let that person that you love go, but you're still inseparable from that person. How can you be inseparable from the person while being physically separate from the person? When you have that bhavana that me and my child are no different than each other. Okay. But still the child will go and do whatever he wants to do. Let the child the freedom what they want to have. But your ego, your ahankara does not stop or does not make you do things that make your child do things that you would want the child to do. That is love. That is bhakti. So ananya, there's no difference between both of you. You treat the child the way that you treat, which means you let that child live its own life. Then when you drop that ego, that's when the bhakti comes. That is true bhakti. And when that thing happens, automatically the grace will happen. When the grace happens, then the flowering happens. When the flowering happens, you see this entire universe as well. Okay, and that Bhagavan summarizes in 11.55 very, very well. So he says that mat karma krun mat paramaha mat bhakta sangavarjitaha nirvaira sarvabhuteshu yastamameti pandava. So he says there are 4 or 5 things that I'm telling you. Do karma yoga. First of all, Shravana Manana Nidhyasana, recognize Brahman in everything. Start practicing it. Subjugate your ego to me. Keep dropping your ego one at a time. Every opportunity that you use, every interaction with people, with beings, don't be egoistic. Detach all attachments. But when you detach all attachments, you need an anchor. Anchor onto me and see no enmity with everyone. Why that automatically would happen? Because when you see this entire universe, when you start seeing over a period of time that this entire universe is just one, you cannot have any enmity with anyone. That's what it says. Now, Sridhar had a different, argument with me on this particular topic. But my point is, as I went through this chapter 11, and I chant Nirvana Shtakam every day in the morning, one of the things that comes to me is that not this first line, Aham Nirvikalpo Nirakar Rupa. That's not what comes to my mind when I look at chapter 11 and Nirvana Shtakam. What comes to my mind is the second line, Vibhutvacha Sarvatra Sarvendriyan. Okay, so what Bhagavan is saying in the second line, just to look at the English translation, is I am present everywhere as the underlying substratum of everything and behind all sense organs. So what he's saying is that you cannot separate me out from whatever that you see in this particular entire universe. And what is this entire universe that you're experiencing? That is this Vibhutva. And if you notice, Vibhuti, Vibhu, these are all very similar kind of sounding words. And even without knowing any grammar in Sanskrit, it is very easy for us to figure out that there is a connection between Vibhuti and Vibhu. And actually, that's what it is. So what he's saying is that whatever that you see is my glory. That's who I am. Either you can say that that glory is me, or you can say that the underlying substratum for all the glory is me. It doesn't matter what you say. But treat everything as me. Treat everything as my glory. That's what he's saying. So with that, I'm just going to, maybe 7:33, we're running late. So I'm going to just stop here. There were a few interesting words that I wanted to share here. On the right side, na antam, na madhyam, na punas, na adim. So there's endless, midless, and beginningless. So even if you say 14 lokas is what we would see here, that's actually not right, because if it is 14 lokas, then it's still bounded statement. So it has to be 14 lokas multiplied by innumerable. Okay, then again it says heavens, earth, and space. Then this, Swarga, Bhu, and then the space in between. And if you say that, then again it's bounded. But the space in between them, directions all seem as one. That statement makes it as unbounded. Then that's the most important thing that you'll have to remember that. Now, there are beautiful, interesting Sanskrit words, which I tried my best to translate in English in the way that it is expressed in Sanskrit. And I would love you to kind of read it at leisure. Because of a lack of time, I'm going to stop here. And then one word that I want to mention is Jagan Nivasa, which is the final resting place of Jagat. So Nivasa is resting place. Jagan is Jagat. So final resting place of Jagat, which is during the time of Pralaya, or whenever that thing happens, that event happens in us, the entire Jagat will just rest within that. That's the Pralaya part. So I just want to stop here. Questions, comments, feedback, would love to hear that.
Very nice, Rajesh.
If there are no questions, we're running late, we can say the concluding shloka and conclude. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.
Hari Om, everyone.
So
Hari
next
Om.
week,
Hari
is anyone
Om.
doing
Hari Om.
presentations?
There were a few people, right, that said they'll do next week.
Yeah, okay. So we will do that. We'll continue with that and then conclude. Okay? All right.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Some
Hari
questions
Om.
reserved for you, Rajesh. I had some questions, but since time was not there, I will ask in the next session.
Will do.
Thank
Will
you.
do. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.